Greetings, fellow adventurers. This is Vexus, and welcome to this Let's Play of the Yawhg. It's been a little while since my last Let's Play project. I had initially intended to wait until this summer to start my next sizable project, which would be Dreamfall Chapters. But it is, as of this recording, it is currently spring break. And so I have a little bit of time. And so, similar to why I went to the project Gone Home after Dragon Age 2, it's just kind of a more laid-back, short project that I can do where I don't feel I have to do so much editing. And that's what this project is going to be as well, since I just recently finished Dragon Age Inquisition. So this is the Yawhg, a game that is pretty much a choose-your-own-adventure game. The controls are extremely simple. The overall format of the game is also quite straightforward. But I have to give this project props for atmosphere and storytelling. And here at Vexus TV, it's all about story, or at least that's what I always try to highlight here in these Let's Play projects. And I think that this one really fits the bill. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the next screen here. This is a game that can be played as one player or multiple players. And it's actually the first game in a long time where the multiplayer mode is strictly hot seat multiplayer. In other words, there's no online play or anything like that. Instead, everyone has to share the same console. Which, on the one hand, might seem a bit primitive these days, but one thing I like about it is that it kind of compels people to be together in one place to experience this if they do multiplayer, and allows a little bit more, I think, direct and fruitful interaction on why their characters are doing what they're doing and how that plays out in the story. And a lot of the consequences in this story are very randomly generated, so there's not much strategy here. It's really just go with what you think is the best option. Sometimes it'll lead to success, sometimes it'll lead to failure. Now, we can control, we have to choose at least 2 characters for the sake of the gameplay, but I'm going to go ahead and choose all 4, because I certainly can, and it doesn't really hamper anything as far as a one-player game goes. And because these characters are supposed to reflect anybody in the situations that they're going to encounter, they even have no names assigned to them. So, based on their kind of dress, I'm going to just give them names that I think are appropriate based on what I think that they do in the medieval fantasy setting that this game takes place in. So our first character is on the left, and I'm going to call her the Sorceress. The character above, I'm going to be calling the Adventurer. He's just got that swagger about him. In fact, actually, let me go ahead and call him the Rogue. I just like that idea. So you have the Sorceress, the Rogue. I'm going to call her the Courtier, or Courtier, however you wish to pronounce it. She's got that air of nobility about her, I think. And last but not least, the Woodsman. And so, sketch those names down here in front of me, so I can just, so I know when you hear me referring to those, you'll know who I mean, even if it's not obvious from what's on the screen. So let's begin. Yawhg will be here in 6 weeks, and no one expects it. Not a one of us. We just keep on living our lives, week by week, unaware. And indeed, this game is played in 6 rounds, so to speak, and which is a week. And during each week, each character is allowed to go to one place for that week and accomplish one kind of task. So first we have the sorceress. We have the areas that are possible for us are the forest, the arena, the alchemy tower, the gardens, the palace, the tavern, the hospital, and the slums. Now, again, based on the kind of role that I see each of these characters playing, I'm just going to start them in what I think it would be the most logical place, but then we'll move on to other areas as we go through the story. So let's have the sorceress start at the alchemy tower. And with every location, you have 2 general tasks that you can do. Also, every character, as you can see on the upper right, starts with the exact same base set of skills. They're all set at 5, except for wealth, which is set at 0. I think that's done so that you're not pushed towards any particular location to start with. So we always got to start at the bottom, right? So instead of immediately jumping in and brewing potions, let's clean the lab. You spend the week cleaning up noxious chemicals. You're paid 1 wealth for your labor, and gain 1 physique and 1 magic. Sure enough, we see that in the upper right. One day you hear cries for help coming from the next room. Running over to investigate, you see that the alchemists there have accidentally created an ooze monster. How do you dispatch the ooze? So we have punch the ooze into submission or blast the ooze with magic. And so this is the general thing that we're going to see. Once you've chosen a task to do, you'll first get some kind of buff for the task that you chose immediately. Then you'll encounter a challenge. You will always have 2 options to address the challenge, and then it's determined whether you succeed or fail. Well, to be honest, though, I'm not sure if your success or failure is completely random, or if it is augmented at least somewhat by your current stats. I think that's actually the case, but there's still always a chance of you pulling off a success or failure regardless. So for now, since we have both a physique and a magic of 6, I don't think it really matters which one we choose. We're not really going to be more successful one or the other. But I am calling her the sorceress. So instead of trying to punch the ooze, let's see if we can use magic. You try to blast the ooze with magic, but just end up producing a bouquet of flowers into your hand. The other alchemists make short work of the ooze with a dizzying array of magical spells. For the rest of the week, you are ridiculed by the denizens of the tower. Embarrassing. You lose 1 charm. Also, sometimes when it seems that you have encountered a failure, sometimes you'll still get a buff out of it as well, so it's never wholly clear what's going to happen. Alright, next up is the woodsman. So let's put him out in the forest and chop some wood. We also have the ability to hunt as well. You spend the week cutting down trees for the village. You gain 2 physique and earn yourself 1 wealth. One day, you stumble upon a dryad picking flowers in a field. Upon noticing you, she runs up to you excitedly. "Excuse me, sir. Would you care to dance?" she asks. "I've been wanting to dance for so long, but nobody else has been around to dance with," she sighs. Do we dance or do we not? I'm going to guess that this has to do with our finesse, which is pretty mediocre right now. But at the moment, there's nothing particularly ominous about her request, so why not try? I'd love to dance. She giggles and takes you by the hand. She starts humming out a song, and the two of you dance together in the middle of the forest. You accidentally step on her toes several times while dancing. After the third time, she stops you. She thanks you for the dance and limps off into the night. You practice dancing a little. You gain 1 finesse. I wonder if the Dryad regrets asking us. Also, this Let's Play actually is a bit of a first in that, as you can see thus far, there is no audio speech. It's all me just reading the text. So this is also going to be a little bit of a test to see if you guys can stand just hearing my voice read a whole bunch of text, because there's another project I have coming down the road that is also going to be an adventure game that's all text-based with no voice audio. Alright, here we have the courtier, and so let's go ahead and start her in the palace. You can do administrative work or attend the ball. Again, I think we should probably start at a much more humble position and work our way up here. So let's do some admin work. You spend the week doing paperwork for the palace. You're paid 2 wealth and gain 1 mind. One day you hear somebody shouting something in the hallway. "There's a bomb in the palace!" they scream. There is a mass panic as people try desperately to escape the palace walls. Locate and disarm the bomb, run away. Oh boy. And we do have a mind of 6. We gonna play a hero? Let's play the hero. Locate and disarm the bomb. You run deeper into the castle, trying to figure out where the explosives are hidden. You manage to find them in the wine cellar, disguised as barrels of wine. The bomb appears to be on a detonator that is controlled by a powerful magic. You realize immediately you won't be able to figure it out, and get out of the building as quick as you can. You're almost out when the bomb goes off. It is a huge explosion that knocks you through a wall. You lose 1 physique. Yeah, I don't think you can actually die in this game, but you can make these decisions that will lower your stats instead of raising them. Also, as we just saw, there are certain events that will make a location inaccessible. From now on, we will not be able to go to the palace because it's been blown up by a bomb. This is turning out to be a good first week. Alright, let's have the rogue start out in the tavern. Bartender, drink. I guess drink is the better place to start here. You spend the entire week getting wasted. You gain 2 charm and 1 physique. One day, while in the tavern, you hear a large commotion outside. Yeah, let's go outside and see what's up. Outside, you see a crowd of angry people carrying torches and pitchforks. "Kill the Dryad!" they chant in a sort of synchronized cacophony. They are all running to the middle of the town. Working your way through the mob, you find a Dryad running away. "I was just looking for someone to dance with," she sobs. "Oh, I wonder if it's the same one." You shout at the top of your lungs for the crowd to stop what they are doing. Your words fall on deaf ears. You see the Dryad get set on fire and prodded with pitchforks. Oh no! And unfortunately, that one didn't get a choice, probably because our charm was not high enough for that one. They say the last time it came, the Yawhg devoured houses whole, stole lives, tore families and family members apart. But that was so very long ago. Alright, round 2. Rather mixed to poor results so far. Okay. Let's send our sorceress out into the forest to gather some reagents, shall we? We already did the chop wood, so let's pretend that the sorceress needs some kind of pieces of various animals for alchemy ingredients, and let's go hunting. You spend the week hunting defenseless critters. You gain 2 finesse and sell the pelts for 1 wealth. One day you stumble upon a tall, nicely trimmed hedge in the middle of the woods. You sit and eat your lunch in front of the hedge, wondering what exactly it's doing out in the woods. Suddenly an enormous hand erupts from the foliage. No reason to try to engage in a fight, so let's dodge it. Uh-oh. You try dodging its grasp, but you're not quick enough. It grabs you and pulls you through the thorns of the hedge. You lose 1 physique. The beast drags you all the way back to its lair and chains you up to a wall. It starts peeling layers of your flesh off of you, eating it in front of you. Then he waves his hand, regenerating the flesh on your body. The cycle occurs for what feels like years. The mental torment you undergo is unbearable. You lose 3 mind. The constant barrage of healing spells infuses you with raw magic. You gain 3 magic. One day, the beast's lair is attacked by another monster. You take this opportunity to escape. You push through the hedge and back into the forest. When you finally arrive at home, you learn that you've only been gone for a day. I've gotten that one before with a different character. Alright, let's see. What's the woodman's gonna do? Let's take him to the arena. Let's go ahead and bet on a fight in the arena. You spend the week placing bets on your favorite fighters. You gain 3 wealth. During a match, another warrior's weapon is knocked from their grasp. You barely manage to avoid it. With a sickening crunch, it destroys the knee of a nearby bystander. He accuses you of causing him harm by not stopping the flying weapon. He takes you to court. We're just dodging. Come on. It wasn't our fault. You object, but you can't seem to convince the judge. He rules in the plaintiff's favor and orders you to surrender 2 wealth. Alright, well, the palace got blown up. Let's just take the courtier to the gardens, shall we? Let's do some quiet meditation. It's been a really bad first week for her. You spend the week in deep meditation. You gain 1 magic and 2 mind. One day, a toothless old woman approaches you. I have a small pouch of magic beans. Would you be interested in purchasing them? At this point, can things get that much worse? Sure. You spend 1 wealth on the beans. Later, you decide to plant them in a small, rarely visited part of the garden. Well, we'll see what happens with them then. Let's have the rogue go to the slums, and let's make him a little bit more heroic. Instead of pickpocketing, let's fight crime. You spend the week outsmarting and beating up criminals. You gain 1 mind, 1 physique, and 1 finesse. One night, a small child approaches you with his hands cupped and outstretched towards you. He doesn't say anything, but looks up at you with wide eyes, waiting expectantly. Our wealth is 0. Can we still give him something? You're also broke. You don't have a penny you could spare. You end up hanging out all night, though, talking with the child. Hearing a child's outlook on the world allows you to see things in a slightly different light. You gain 1 mind. It was on us in a heartbeat, or so the stories go. The earth shook, and the air went still. It is week number 3. Okay. Let's have our sorceress use some of her skills in the hospital. And this time let's have her tend to the patients instead of doing more cleaning. You spend the week diagnosing and tending to the sick. You gain 2 mind and earn 1 wealth. One day you hear spooky sounds echoing through the hospital. Soon afterwards, a glowing blue ghost floats down from the ceiling. She seems to be wandering the halls aimlessly, howling out horrible noises. She doesn't appear to realize that she's freaking everyone out. You decide to do something about it. Our magic is far much larger than our charm at this point, so let's try to vaporize the ghost with magic. With a wave of your hand, you fire off a magic bolt. The ghost lets out a wail as the bolt pierces her heart. She slowly fizzles out of existence. Target practice. You gain 1 magic. Certainly not the best way that could have ended, but I just don't see us being able to solve that problem with our charm at that point. Alright, let's take our woodsman to the tavern. Let's have him do some drinking. Spend the week getting wasted. 2 charm and 1 physique. One day a fortune teller sets up at one of the tavern's tables. She offers to read anyone's fortune for a small sum. We got the coin to spend, so why not? Yes, please. You spend 1 wealth. The fortune teller takes your hand and begins showering you with promises of love and wealth. She doesn't really go into any detail, and the whole time you can't help but feel that this is all an act. Underwhelmed and slightly poorer, you can't help but feel like you've wasted your money. That night, while walking home, the fortune teller runs up to you and gives you a kiss on the cheek. There's the love part, she says with a toothless smile. Then she hands you a giant sack of gold. There's the wealth, she says. You gain 2 wealth. Still think I'm a hack? Self-fulfilling prophecy there, I guess. Alright. Courtier. Where are we going to take the courtier? Let's take her to the alchemy tower. Do a little bit of brewing potions, maybe? Spend the week experimenting with different potion brews. Gain 2 magic and 1 mind. One day, an artificer stops by for a visit. She is adorned with magical gadgets and gizmos and is followed everywhere by her clockwork spider. The alchemists of the tower all go out of their way to impress the artificer, offering her an array of potions and elixirs. As she's leaving, she adorns the most charming of the alchemists with a special trinket. The fact that she didn't choose you was a very humbling experience. You gain 1 charm. Alright, let's take the rogue to the arena. Let's compete. We have decent physique. You spend the week fighting brutes in the arena. You gain 2 physique and 1 finesse. One day, in between matches, you stumble upon one of the higher-ranked fighters, ingesting illegal strength potions. Please, sir, don't report me, she cries. I'll even share some of my potion with you if you keep quiet, she adds. Ooh. What do we do? Well, he's a rogue, so he's probably not married to the law here, and he could certainly use the money. So let's have the rogue take her offer. Thank you so much for not reporting me, she says while handing you her flask. You take a small swig of her potion and can feel your muscles expand significantly. You gain 2 physique. Oh, I guess we get physique out of it, not wealth. Oh well. And then the world was a howling fury, chaos, screaming, the sound of all we knew being pulled in half. Alright, second half of the game now. We're in week 4. Let's have our sorceress visit the gardens. Let's see, let's have maybe use some of her potions to help the garden. You spend the week maintaining the plants in the royal garden. You gain 1 physique, 1 finesse, and earn yourself 1 wealth. One day, while in the gardens, you notice a beanstalk. Hey, I think I know where that came from. Well, let's not destroy it, let's water it, see if it turns into something more interesting. If plants could express emotions, it lets you know how delighted it is to be watered. Let's see. Let's have the woodsman Then the woodsmen do a good deed and go clean up at the hospital. You spend the week steeling your mind against the horrors of the hospital, making sure it is as clean as can be. You gain 1 mind, 1 physique, and earn 1 wealth. One day a patient comes into the hospital with sores that nobody's ever seen before. While walking by his bedside, he looks to you and rudely asks for a glass of water. Well, he's rude, but he's suffering, so let's get him some water. You bring him a small glass to quench his thirst. He takes a large sip, swigs it around, and then proceeds to spit it at you. The water hits you right in the face. After cleaning up, you scold the obviously insane man for spitting at you. The night when you go home, you feel dizzy and start having vivid hallucinations about ancient wizards. You gain 3 magic. You lose 3 mind. Oh dear. I think the woodsman has been infected with something. Alright, let's have the courtier go to the arena. Why not? Spend the week placing bets on favorite fighters. You gain 2 wealth. One day in the middle of a match, a dryad runs into the field. Man, these dryads are everywhere. Would anyone like to dance? She appears to be asking. Okay, we got this running gag now, it seems. Boos and hisses erupt from the crowd. Before you can even react, one of the fighters has already cleaved the dryad in 2. A terrible shriek booms from out of the wound. The crowd erupts into applause. The dryad's corpse then explodes in a fury of leaves that cuts everyone nearby. You lose 1 physique. Dagnabbit. I had a so much nicer run last time when I played this on my own. Sure enough, as soon as the playthrough is on camera, everything just goes violent and terrible. Alright, let's have our rogue head out and do a little hunting. Spend the week hunting defenseless critters. You gain 2 finesse and sell the pelts for 1 wealth. One day you hear hundreds of footsteps rumbling through the forest in your direction. It's an orc raiding party. What do you do? We do not have a lot of charm, so why don't we hide? You jump into a nearby ditch. The orcs will all ride past you. Nice hiding. You gain 1 finesse. If I'd had more charm, I definitely would have tried that. When it arrives this time, how will we fare? Will we once more rebuild, move on, be strong? Or have we forgotten? Week 5. Next to last week. Alright, so let's go ahead and have everyone go back to their original places, except for the courtier, since the palace is no longer available. This time, let's brew a potion. We have plenty of magic now. You spend the week experimenting with different potion brews. Gain 2 magic and 1 mind. One day, while in the tower, one of the alchemists asks you to watch his potion while he heads out. Soon after he leaves, the potion begins bubbling out of control. If you don't do something soon, it'll explode. Given that it's in the middle of the town, throwing it out the window would probably be the safer thing to do, but might harm people passing by. So I think we'll have to try to be a hero again and drink it. You quickly drink the potion. Your stomach can't seem to handle the potion. Fire erupts from your esophagus, and for a solid minute you're shooting a jet of fire from between your lips. That burns. You lose 2 physique. What a learning experience, though. You gain 1 mind. Alright, so back to the forest. Chop some wood for the woodsman. You spend the week cutting down trees for the village. Gain 2 physique and earn yourself 1 wealth. Over the course of the week, you notice yourself growing more and more spiral-shaped swords all over your body. One day, the swords begin glowing a vibrant blue. You feel your magic power grow even stronger while your mind slips further and further. You gain 3 magic. You lose 3 mind. In no time, the swords are glowing so bright that they hurt to look at. A hunting party spots you. One of them runs up to see if you're all right. With only a glance, you set him aflame. Then you let out a scream that shakes the earth and shatters the skulls of all nearby. A river of blood coats the ground as you walk about, reveling in your destruction. You black out. When you come to, you're at home in your bed. Your sores have faded, and you feel like the disease's symptoms have passed. The next day, you find the exit to the town is closed. Something about there being a horrific accident in the forest. You do not inquire further. Yikes. It is truly a horrible world here. Alright, so let's have the courtier go to the gardens and see maybe how the beanstalks are going. You spend the week maintaining the plants in the royal garden. You gain 1 finesse, 1 physique, and earn yourself 1 wealth. One day you come across an elderly man snoozing on the grass. You there, young person. He waves you over. I'm having an awful time trying to nap in the bright sun. Do you mind giving me some shade? Sure, why not? Block the sun for the old man. Ages seem to pass as you stand in the hot sun, the wizened old man sleeping peacefully in your shadow. The sun is sweltering, and after some hours you begin to feel faint. Gradually everything grows dark. When you awaken, it is evening in the garden, and an ancient, gnarled tree stands where the old man was sleeping. For witnessing this miraculous event, you gain 1 magic. Alright, and we'll take the road back to the tavern, and let's have him bartend this time. You spend the week serving drinks at the tavern. You earn 1 wealth in tips and gain 2 charm. One day a bard pulls out his lute in the bar and starts playing a tune. Unfortunately, his singing is horrible and is ruining the tavern's atmosphere. You decide to do something about it. Let's challenge him to a lute duel. You borrow the bar owner's lute and challenge the bard to a musical duel. You play out a beautifully complex combination of arpeggios. The tavern roars with applause. The bard tries his best to replicate your piece, but ends up dropping his lute, snapping it in half. He bows his head shamefully in defeat and walks out of the tavern. You gain 1 finesse and 1 charm. The Yawhg. It's almost here. Almost. Almost. And I hope you guys can see what I said before about atmosphere. This week in particular, I love the soundtrack. Alright. What do we need? Let's have the sorceress go to the hospital and tend to some patients. You spend the week diagnosing and tending to the sick. You gain 2 mind and earn 1 wealth. One day, while in the maternity ward, you notice a woman about to give birth. The baby she births is no ordinary baby, however. The skin is pitch black and shiny, and its eyes glow like an orange flame. It wrestles itself from the doctor's hands and tries to fly away. "Stop that demon!" yells the doctor. Yeah, we have magic up the wazoo. With a wave of your hand, you put up a magical barrier blocking the exit. The demon bounces right off it and collapses onto the ground. Quick thinking, you gain 1 mind. The doctor runs up with a scalpel and quickly slits the demon's throat. Your mouth goes agape at the doctor's merciless killing of a baby. He shrugs and walks away. Alright, the woodsman's had a really bad time, so let's do some meditation here. You spend the week in deep meditation. You gain 1 magic and 2 mind. One day, you notice a glowing beanstalk in a corner of the garden. When you get closer, everything flashes white. The beanstalk transformed into a small gnome. The gnome thanks you for feeding him from the magical seeds. As a reward, he offers a choice between the following: the blessing of the tangible, the blessing of the cerebral. Let's go cerebral. You gain 3 mind. You gain 3 charm. You gain 3 magic. Yeah, not bad. Alright, let's have the courtier. Let's have her be social. Go to the tavern. Getting wasted. With a nice chalice, by the way. Gain 2 charm and 1 physique. One day, an impromptu drinking contest is held. We don't have a whole lot of physique to handle it, so let's spectate. As you watch from afar, people down pint after pint, making complete fools of themselves. You feel a little better about not entering. You gain 1 mind. Alright, this will be our last action here for the main part of the game. Let's have our rogue friend fight some crime again. You spend the week outsmarting and beating up criminals. 1 mind, 1 physique, and 1 finesse. One day, while wandering the slums, you notice that the stones used to line the road seem to have a certain pattern to them. With a piece of paper and a pencil, you manage to work out that each type of symbol corresponds to the letter of the alphabet. Deciphering the code points you to a small trapdoor hidden in a back alley. You descend it to find a dimly lit room with 2 cubes hovering off the ground, text scribbled across them. The arcane, the gallant. Let's go with the gallant. You touch the cube labeled the gallant. Everything flashes white. You wake up at home, feeling a little odd. You gain 3 charm. The storm arrives in the night. By morning it still rages. For 3 full days the tempest puts us through a grinder, drowns us, crushes us, ruins us. But then it ends. We see the graveyard our home has become. Our home. Does anything yet live? Is it? Are we past saving? Alright, so sure enough, the Yawhg has passed through, and yeah, we can see that as much damage as our heroes managed to do to the town already, now it's completely wrecked. Now for each of the characters, we have to choose what role they will play in bringing about the rebuilding, at least attempt at rebuilding the town. So for this one, I just like to go with, based on their final stats, what makes sense for each character. For example, the sorceress, as appropriately enough as it should be, has ended up with magic more than anything else. And she has a good amount of mind. So let's make her the doctor. You know, you might think, well, why not just be the conjurer? Well, I think if you have both magic and mind, I think doctor works out pretty well. You take it upon yourself to help the sick and injured from the Yawhg. You're able to keep most patients in stable condition. Some are even able to get up and back to work in no time. This helps the survival effort quite a bit. So that result is considered to be a slightly higher than average result. Here we have the woodsman. Now he has physique, magic, and charm as being really high. So let's see, physique and magic. Let's him be the conjurer. You take it upon yourself to help conjure up supplies for the town. With your magic, you summon supplies of the highest caliber. With little effort, you're summoning high-quality lumber and food from out of nowhere. This helps the rebuilding effort significantly. And I think that's like the best you can get for a job right there, is the significant result. Alright, for the courtier, She is highest in mind and magic, but the doctor is already taken, I think. Let's see. Let's go with mind. So if mind is the biggest one... How about the tailor? I mean, she's probably had some experience in making clothes. I'm hoping. By the way, if someone has... either someone has very low stats, like overall, because of, having a really bad time during the 6 weeks, or you just want to play it as part of their role, you can have someone be a person who works against the town prosperity, which is the looter and the town drunk. You volunteer to weave and mend clothing for the survivors to keep warm, but you completely lack the dexterity or stamina required to make clothing. Everything you make falls apart almost immediately upon wearing it. The lack of proper clothing drops morale significantly. Ouch. I guess I guessed wrong there in the traits there. But for our rogue, he has a ton of charm, and so let's make him the leader. You take it upon yourself to be the leader of the survivors. You expertly delegate and prioritize tasks. You give motivating speeches and act as an effective mediator in disputes. This helps the rebuilding effort significantly. And so, we set about our tasks, once more living our lives, this time in a way we might never have expected, or even wanted. But in the end, ... So, what's going to happen to the city? It was a struggle, but a struggle we never abandoned. Though our home had been stripped apart, we did not let it languish. And whether we succeed or fail, we did our best. Who knows if the Yawhg will visit us again? Who knows if we will can ever be, ready for it? So this is the mediocre ending. The town survives, but remains damaged and, I guess, hurt. The other possible endings are to have the town prosper after the Yawhg, which I've done before, or the town completely fails and is abandoned. So here we had a mixed ending. And now we get epilogues for each of the characters. First for the sorceress. The Yawhg changed you, probably for the better. With the town being rebuilt, you eventually decide to retake your role as a doctor in the hospital. There you make friends with another doctor. The two of you do everything together. You're inseparable. Eventually, you even decide to get an apartment and live with each other. Then your friend gets married and everything changes. Their spouse has to move away to a new town and your friend follows. You try to keep in touch by mail, but the letters start to come less and less frequently. You try to fraternize with other doctors. While they're all nice people, nothing can compare. With the town being rebuilt, you, being the woodsman, spend nearly all your time in the alchemy tower. You try desperately to research a cure for that mysterious spiral sore disease that caused you to hurt all those people. All that time in the lab I think that's supposed to be begins, not beings. Begins taking a toll on your body. You notice spiral sores beginning to resurface onto your skin. Not wanting to repeat the past, you walk out to the docks and jump into the water. You swim out as far as possible. A faint explosion was spotted on the lake that night. Some say it was the birth of a new star. While the town is being rebuilt, you spend more and more time in the alchemy tower. Your potion brewing abilities quickly become among the best in the world. Your health and mana potions are considered world-class delicacies, with people venturing far and wide to buy them. But you never learn how to brew a love potion. And last with the rogue. With the town being rebuilt, you don your costume once more, eager to fight crime. In an odd twist of events, the Yawhg appears to have brought everyone closer together. You can't seem to find even a trace of criminal activity in the town. You travel to new lands in search of crime that must be punished. And so that is the Yawhg. So I hope you enjoyed that quick little Let's Play. And I think since we're back here on the screen again, a few final thoughts. So again, you can see how quick and short and sweet this game is, but hopefully you can also see that it kind of begs itself for multiple playthroughs, just to see how things turn out. And because there's so much randomized, you kind of have to surrender a large amount of control in trying to get, quote, the best ending, and kind of just see how it plays out. One of the things I really like is that the ending for the characters, the individual epilogues, are kind of detached by whether or not the town itself survives or not. And I think that kind of mimics real life in a significant way. You know, communities will form and dissolve over time, but that's different from people's individual experiences often. Also, you may have noticed that, you know, some of the characters who did really well in rebuilding the town, like the woodsman, ended up having very tragic endings, whereas the courtier, who essentially failed in helping the community as it was rebuilding, ended up taking a completely different job in the end and prospered. So that's another thing that I kind of like about this game, is how it demonstrates the twists and turns that happen in the stories of characters. Yeah. So I enjoyed this. It is a bit on the pricey side for what you get. I believe as of this recording on Steam, it's $10. And I can agree with some people that that's a bit on the pricey side. But I thought it was worth it because I liked the twisting story narrative. I loved the music and the atmosphere. And I liked kind of the message that is kind of behind the story here, where the Yawhg, you know, in this game, if you want to say what is the Yawhg, it's pretty clear that it's a hurricane or a large storm system that swings by this area of the land every few years or so. But more symbolically, the Yawhg is just, you know, it's this torments of life that just, you know, brush through your life and can change everything. So that the rest of your life is defined by what was before that great happening and then what came after it. So I kind of like that. I like the experience that this kind of takes you on in a virtual game way through that feeling that can come along with our lives. There's always the bit of choice where we try to choose how to respond to things, and then there's that element that's always completely beyond our control. And I think this game kind of showcases both of that. Alright, so thank you one last time, everyone, for following me on this brief but hopefully fun journey. And, you know, if you think this is interesting, try it for yourself. See what kind of story you can write for your characters. So until next time, fellow adventurers, take care.